Hi, I'm John Horwich, President and CEO of Easter Seals DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and I'm pleased to welcome you all to the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Child Development Center of Easter Seals. This center holds a very special place in the heart of Easter Seals because it was our first service location in the greater Washington area. So it's a very fitting location to talk about the continuing investments that this city and its leadership are making in early childhood education and our ability to live our core value of innovation to meet emerging needs. Our vision is to create a hopeful, inclusive community where all people achieve their potential and live meaningful lives, a vision that aligns very strongly with Mayor Bowser's relentless commitment to every single DC resident, period. We want to thank Mayor Bowser, Dr. Grant, and the Office of the State Superintendent of Education for the continued investment that the district has made in our services. We're particularly proud to be accredited by the National Association for the Education of Young Children, a distinction of high-quality services earned by only 10% of programs in the country. With the support of district leadership, Easter Seals has been able to offer the first-class care to an ever-growing number of families. Vouchers from OSSI enable us to serve low-income families at this center. Funding from the city enabled us to renovate this center to provide more space for our youngest learners. And our contract with Strong Start enables us to provide early intervention services to hundreds of young children throughout the district. We also want to say a special thanks for the incredible support that you and the DC Council have shown that will help us to open a brand new early Head Start center in just a few weeks in Ward 5. We can't wait to open the doors for 80 more children under 3 years old and their families with this much-needed program that enables Easter Seals to improve lives and expand opportunities for DC children and families. Thank you so much. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Chanel Powell, who's both a parent of a pre-K student here and a teacher here at Easter Seals.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. As a parent of a child who's enrolled here at Easter Seals and an employee who benefits from child care subsidy, I would like to start by saying thank you for all that you do for the ECE community. And it is my pleasure to welcome Mayor Bowser to our center.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. It is great to be here in beautiful Ward 1. And I want to thank Chanel for that introduction and thank the entire leadership team of the Easter Seals for being here. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I, too, want to acknowledge the loving staff for doing really important work, right? Taking care of our little people in a nurturing, challenging, loving environment, which gives their parents peace of mind so that they can go about their work and careers. And over the last few years, we know just how critical our child care workers are to our families, as we always did, but it was certainly highlighted during the pandemic. And I think we should give them another big round of applause for being an integral part of DC's comeback. Because what we knew and we stayed very focused on during those months was getting our child care centers open and getting our schools open. Because without that, there could be no families and parents being able to do their jobs. So at the start of the pandemic, we made an intentional move to stabilize our early child care sector. DC's commitment made us a leader in the nation, and we didn't want to slow down. So we know that high quality child care is critical to the long-term development of a child, and it helps us attract and keep families in DC, and it creates more opportunities for parents. So today we're talking a little bit about my budget investments in that the budget proposal is before the council right now. And part of my decisions in a tough budget environment was to make investments in our families and make investments in how the district retains families and attracts more families. And child care is a big part of that. Many families in the district are able to take advantage of subsidized child care in our subsidized child care program, which pays part or all of a family's child care expenses. And those payments go directly to the provider. So what my budget proposal does is it increases the number of families who are eligible for that program. And we are making, as I've said in my inaugural address, we are trying to do more and more and more and more for middle income families. So working with Dr. Grant and her team at OSSI, we've been able to make a critical proposal to the council to expand eligibility for the child care subsidy from 250% of the federal poverty line to 300%. So let me say what that means in dollars and cents. That means instead of an income cap of $75,000 for a family of four, we're raising that cap to $90,000. It also means that 2,200 more children will become newly eligible for the subsidy. But get this, it also means that 43% of our kids 0 to 6 years old in DC are eligible for subsidized child care. And that's a big, big win for DC families. So you can check it. Check all the surrounding areas. Check anywhere in the country. You'll see what we're doing for our kids and families. We're also using the budget to add $6.8 million to the Special Education Enhancement Fund, which pays for dedicated child care slots and out-of-school time opportunities for our young people with special needs. And Dr. Grant will go more into detail about that investment. Frequently, I talk about the robustness of programs and services in the district. And over the last several years, it became really clear to us that one of the gaps in our robust programming for kids and families has to do with out-of-school time for kids and families with special needs. So I'm really proud that we've been able to make this investment to close that gap. We're also continuing our focus on creating more child care seats at great centers like this one at the Easter Seals. The team here is currently able to serve up to 96 infants and children, but they want to serve more, and we want to help them do exactly that. So one of our most effective tools for creating more seats is our Access to Quality Child Care. It's a grant program which we started back in 2017, and since then we've used it to create more than 1,200 infant and toddler seats. But notice the name of that program, Access to Quality. So part of Dr. Grant's charge in my demand is that when we fund programs, they're great programs. And when we find that programs are not so great, we help them become great, or we help them think about doing something else. That's how critical these early years are to our kids. So I'm pleased to announce that Easter Seals is a recipient of this latest round of grants, and they will be receiving over $600,000 to create a new child care center, which you already heard about in Ward 5, and that will create 80 new seats. So as I told the council last week, we had to make some tough decisions, and you will notice that our investments are about how do we help families, how do we put money in people's pockets, how do we help more middle income families choose to live in DC, to stay in DC. And one way to do that is making sure we have great, affordable child care. And we have a great woman leading that charge, who is our superintendent for the State Office of Education, Dr. Christina Grant.
Oh, thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I do want to again recognize our host, Easter Seals. Thank you all so much for having us here today. We are excited. The mayor is effusive in her excitement. We do want to ground ourselves in the importance of ECE and early childhood education. And so I also wanted to thank all of our advocates, our community leaders, our moms, who are on this journey with us, and do want to recognize Sarah Mead, who's the Deputy Superintendent at OSSI and runs the Early Childhood Division. So many of you have said, Sarah is amazing, and we are a small but mighty team, and it means a lot to see the work in action. There isn't a secret that we are the leader and national leader in early childhood education. In fact, many of you made me aware of that again today. We know that learning starts at birth, and in our Strong Start program, learning starts while you're in utero. And so we make a lot of investments to make sure that our littlest learners have the fairest shot, as soon as we get to meet them. We've made significant investments, as the mayor referenced, but I do want to name them again because it is a significant charge, the mayor said demand, but I'll say charge, from Mayor Bowser that has continued to double down on these investments to ensure that our families could return to work, to ensure that child care providers had the support that they needed. And it's real partnership. We have over 400 providers in this city, and their work ensures that we are able to support our littlest learners. We also have made huge national strides on early childhood compensation, and that also has played a role in this great system that we get to support. We've heard all the great words about Easter Seals, and I'll share a couple of them again. They received nearly $1 million in subsidy funding. They're only one of 4 programs in the district that's specialized in servicing students with disabilities, and that's important as we talk about the investment the mayor named today. The Special Education Enhancement Fund is going to continue to ensure that early learning for all of our early learners exists and happens in DC, because we know that all of our children, all of our families deserve access to quality early childhood education. So very quickly, the $6.8 million allotted to this fund through the mayor's budget will have dedicated resources for child care slots for infants and toddlers with disabilities and out-of-school time slots for children with disabilities, as well as a referral system. That makes me excited. Hope it makes you excited. The numbers there are we will be able to serve up to 75 infants, and an additional 100 students in pre-K and 100 students who are school-age students will be supported through this fund. And these are all students that have special education needs and supports. And we know, well, the educators know, and the parents know, the earlier that you are able to acknowledge these needs, intervene on these needs, the earlier we can make sure that our students are ready for entry into our K-12 system. We will implement a grant program which will be issued on a competitive basis to award grants to licensed facilities, including those that operate before and after school programs with the capacity to serve infants and toddlers. It's very important that we celebrate and acknowledge these investments. It means a lot to us, and it definitely means a lot to the folks at Easter Seals. The funds will also be used to support partnerships between community-based organizations and local schools to improve services for pre-K students with disabilities, as well as community-based organizations. And so, again, if you cannot tell from my excitement, really, really thrilled to have the $6.8 million investment. We in the team at OSSI have been working on this for some time, and we're really excited to be at this point. I do want to truly thank everyone who has a role in early learning, our families, our educators, our community leaders, program operators, and Mayor, thank you so much for your continued investments. You all have different and important roles, but together we truly, truly are making sure that our children have just an amazing shot at an amazing education right here in Washington, D.C.
Okay. Thank you to a great team, our great OSSI team, the great Easter Seals team, and our great little people who are hanging in there with us, getting themselves ready for pre-K3, free pre-K3 in Washington, D.C. So with that, I'll take any questions. I'll start with any press questions. Press questions? Yes, sir.
Just starting on topic, and then they'll be off topic after that. But you've been talking about childcare for a while, for a number of years. You know, talked about how it's expensive for a lot of families. Have you seen broader kind of successes at all in bending the curve downwards in terms of how expensive it is for families who aren't eligible to receive subsidies, but are still dealing with the fact that it can be $20,000+ a year for some kids?
Well, sure. We continue to look for ways to create more seats and have the district be involved in the creation of those seats. You may recall that we've started an initiative where we created early child care centers in our public schools. I know the folks behind me will tell you a big part of their cost is facilities, so we have tried to do that and make those facilities available to private providers to help us come run them. We're still looking for some. I'll tell the Easter Seals. We're looking for great providers for some of those buildings. We opened the Stevens School and we opened the Military Road School, which will concentrate on the early grades. We also have a child care tax credit. Many parents will know that who are at licensed daycare centers. I think it's $1,000 a month. We've been able to maintain it probably since 2018, which is another way that parents can take the cost of their child care down. And I've already mentioned quality, and I just mentioned how we're going to make more people eligible for subsidy. And many people will tell us that they just want more slots in more places. So a lot of our investments are aimed at doing that. And I always mention, and I should mention it's come up, and it'll come up in other parts of our budget discussions, but we have done quite a lot to make sure our most vulnerable parents have access to programs. And part of our push will be to push those income limits out so more people who are on the line can use those subsidies as well. And there questions?
Hello, Mayor. Nick Iannelli with WTOP. This is part of the ongoing budget negotiations. So do you have a feel for the level of support within the council for your plan that you've announced today?
The council has been very supportive at making quality child care more available in the district and supportive of making sure we're supporting early childhood educators. So I expect that they will also be excited about these investments. I do think it's worth noting because sometimes when we expand eligibility, we get pushed back. So I would say to parents, talk to your council members. Let them know that you need some help too. Yes, we're going to make investments in our most vulnerable families, but we have some parents who are on the cusp, and this will allow them to be included. So I do think it's worth you giving your council member a call. You live in Ward 5, Easter Seals, is come and say, we want the Easter Seals to have more kids that can participate. We're in Ward 1, call your council. But yes, advocate. It's time. It's budget time. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
This could go to you, Mayor, or Superintendent Grant.
Sure.
I think it's later this year that the new round of kind of educational requirements for childcare workers should start phasing in. And I'm just curious if you guys have a sense of where the city's childcare workforce is on getting those getting to those requirements if they hadn't already.
They're behind me, and so they we're really, I think the mayor frames all of our investments, and at OSSI and under the leadership of the mayor, we want to make sure we're doing two things at the same time. We're investing in the needs of our facilities, but we also want to make sure we have credentialed individuals in front of our littlest learners, and they have the education that they need. And so we do have significant investments under DC LEAD to ensure that all of our educator, director level, teacher, and assistant have access to resources to come in alignment and compliance with our credentialing. That will come live in terms of requirement in December of this year, and we're hearing from our facilities and our providers. They support the credentialing. They understand why it's necessary. We want to make sure we have licensed individuals in front of our students. And then we've also heard we want more time for individuals to come into compliance. They've given us advice and feedback on different things that they might want us to consider. But we have received support in going this route. This past Saturday at UDC, we awarded the first cohort of bilingual associate degree candidates at UDC to all early childhood educators. And it's worth noting that, for at least 10 of them, they had not been to school in 2 decades. And so for them, each one of those women said, like, we are becoming professionals. We are growing in our skills. We are getting our credentialing, and it means something to us and our families to go on this journey. We want all of our educators to have career path lines, opportunities to growth, and et cetera. And it does start with this credential. And so we're excited that we also have those investments from the mayor to make sure that we didn't just set up a mandate, but we provided significant resources so that individuals could come into compliance with this credential requirement.
Okay. Any other press questions?
One more.
Okay.
Off topic. So off topic, this is just jumping ahead to Wednesday where Congress is going to have a hearing about the district. Number one, what's your message to Congress, to Republicans, about the state of the district and also about this police reform bill that is kind of the center of the controversy? And then are you disappointed or surprised that you weren't specifically invited to speak on the Hill?
Well, I delivered my message to Congress while I was delivering my message to the council. And I think that my message is clear, that the district is strong. Our finances are strong. Our local government is in charge. And we have a plan, a balanced budget to deal with the challenges that all American cities are dealing with. I think there are a lot of reasons why they don't want to talk to me. I'll leave it at that. All right. Thank you, everybody.